Hello everybody, it's Lazel here. This video is a bit different. I had to post-record the audio and I hope that everything fits well. So in this video we will be attacking some castles. Yeah, I finally managed to gather enough footage for another Void War video. We've been playing Void against the Kingdom 178 and yeah, to be completely honest, they won this one. They played that very well. They were very active, very coordinated, and it was a very tough match. We had a lot of struggle to play against those. But here we are currently looking how I played my best SOS so far. I found this one castle that was just sitting there without bubble in an alliance that doesn't have much battle power or castles. So I thought, yeah, I definitely have to give it a try. I immediately went this time after the reset, which is not usual for me. I usually sleep at that time, but I was still awake. So yeah, I just went right after the reset, ported over and found this castle. And here's the hit that you will be seeing. You saw the scout report earlier. I think it was around about 1.3 million troops of tier 10 mostly. So I sent a lot of frontline, my angels and some tier 11 mages. Yeah, as you can see, as always, if you're doing your SOS or planning on doing your SOS, send your army in first and check how the battle performs, and if the losses would be too high, you can still activate your SOS during the attack. Always make sure to have a very good connection so that your game doesn't crash. And yeah, now they are hitting my backline and I lost the first attack. But still it was a very good SOS, it was a good attack. And I definitely wanted to zero this castle because it gave a lot of points for us. So when my army was marching back, I immediately equipped my healing gear. Okay, first of all, the free conjuring, you can see it was right after reset. Switching in the quick heal skill for my pet. I then equipped my belt and my accessory for healing. And yeah, just healed the troops that I've wounded during my SOS. I recommend to then switch back to your fighting gear and let all those alliance helps crush in and reduce the time of the total healing time. Yeah, and then I just let a few healings come in. And for the rest of the time, I just speeded that. So now I had the troops which I've used in my SOS back, and yeah, I went for the second attack. Quickly checking the report, seeing, okay, from 1.3 million troops, only 760,000 survived, and yeah, so it was clear for me to go again. Here you can see that it's always very important for me to send the maximum amount of angels that I have, so I always maximize the angels and then check how many tier 10 infantry I can send, and then adjust this number to my tier 11 mages and to maybe one tier 10 and tier 10 cavalry and infantry, and send the army again. Here's the report again from my SOS, and there we are going for the second attack. The castle had a lot of frontline, which I wasn't able to crush completely in the first attack, but I dealt a lot of damage there, and here's the second attack. So, and for those of you that, yeah, you just were able to see it, the Sacred Flame of Angels is just extremely strong. You saw those hit there. 75,000 kills in the backline while we are still fighting against the front line. There's another hit for the backline with 53,000. So angels are just, they are the most important unit. Luckily I got a crit there, otherwise I would have way more angel losses. Yeah, angels are just one of the most important units currently if you're playing solo. And yeah, as you can see in the report, they also killed a lot of troops, mostly due to the Sacred Flame. It's very impressive how much damage this skill deals in the backline. And yeah, as you were able to see, I landed that one critical hit with my mages. I always go or I went and just researched that skill once, just to have the chance, if it ever happens, that I can land a critical hit. So here again, I switched to my healing gear. Yeah, and I think now I've cut this video so that you can imagine what comes next. I'll be attacking again, so I went there and completely zeroed this castle. So I had to use one SOS, I had to one normal attack after, and here you can see that I had a few losses, and I adjusted them with some tier 10 mages. And yeah, I went for this castle again. Here's the report. So there are like 300,000 troops left. Yeah, and this time I went for a splitted setup of my front line, 50k of tier 11 and 50k of tier 10. And yeah, some tier 10 and tier 11 backline. I prefer this setup because there's a higher chance to crit with the mages in the backline, and I like to have 2 strong units in the front line. But I think that if you go for a massive attack, going for tier 11 infantry only because they have higher base stats than tier 10 is currently better. But yeah, I'm still doing a lot of research on this. But I prefer to use a split setup of frontline. Yeah, and at this point, after killing the castle, I just saw, okay, there were lines coming into the castles that I just burned. And yeah, another active alliance realized that I've been hustling a lot of points in the enemy kingdom by zeroing this castle. And yeah, they saw in the ranking that the castle that I zeroed got a lot of points too, and they probably knew where the castle is. So they went over, saw me there, and yeah, sent in some scouts. And especially in those situations, you always want to keep a calm mind, because the alliance that found me there wasn't the alliance that I've been attacking. So I knew, okay, they can't even reinforce the castles that I'm hitting. So that was the first thing that kept me calm. Furthermore, I had my royal challenge out. I knew I was under hospital capacity. It would be very hard for them to give me losses. So I just kept doing what I was doing here. This is what I meant. You can always check your ranking and which alliance is currently active. And here, yeah, that was very interesting. I've never seen this before. If they find castles in their kingdom that got zeroed, they ported there and plundered the resources just to avoid or to prevent that castles from the enemy kingdom get those resources. I think that was very interesting. It was the first time that I saw this. And yeah, later in the video you will see how I use this for me to hustle a bit more points. Here also a good thing, every time you are heal in small batches, so you can get your troops back better. Yeah, they ported in with way more castles. That was fine for me. I didn't want to challenge any of those castles because I knew they would reinforce for them. Yeah, and here the first thing, I saw a red line. I saw this guy had to walk for like 1 hour to get to me, so he was standing on the other side of Blackland, so I had no fear at all. You can just see he recalled his army again, and more castles ported in to plunder those resources. Still fine for me. I knew nothing can happen to me. And yeah, so I was just standing there plundering a few resources. Since the new update, resource became a bit more relevant for me. But yeah, so I was just sending my troops in, and then you can see it was down to 25 seconds the attack that came in. So I was then checking again, are there more castles incoming? And so I got hit. And I immediately bubble and use the 2-hour bubble, so to prevent that any others can join. And then I do the fast withdraw to get my royal challenge back, and you can immediately see that I outnumber the incoming attack with battle power and completely crush that player that actually attacked me. You can see here in the report that yeah, that player lost to me, had a few losses too, because it overcapped its hospital. And yeah, also some angels, yeah, decent technology. So, and then the situation ended there and we jumped to the next attack. I found another castle that wasn't in such a strong alliance and sent in my troops for an attack. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember that one. I forgot to buff up to use those 8-hour buffs. You can see I lost a few angels and that was during the second attack on the castle that I've zeroed in the beginning. But yeah, still I managed to play pretty good with around about 81k of tier 11 angels. Yeah, and I was able to hit that castle and win the fight. Had a few losses, but that's fine. It was only tier 10 infantry. Yeah, and as you can see, as soon as your army has moved out and you activate buffs again, while your army is out, it won't use the buffs that you've activated while it was out. So always make sure to buff your army before you send them out. That's also something with gear. I've seen players that were trying to use an army size gear part to maximize their army limit, send the army out, then change to a gear part that has better technology, and then use this to maximize their overall power, and it doesn't work. If you do that, it will just apply the army size, and the technology from the other gear part won't apply to your army. So always make sure to wear the best technology you can have and play with that and buff up before a fight. So I got that castle. Yeah, and zeroed that too. And here is the part that hurt me the most, this Void War, because I lost a lot of angels. I was fighting this one guy that reinforced. It was a fair fight. I really enjoyed that. And here you can see that my technology really worked. I had a lot of infantry HP, defense, and so on. And then sadly somebody else joined the fight, and when my front line died, my angels got hit. I got a bit nervous there and pressed the withdraw button or retreat button and lost a lot of angels. After that, I really should have gone for the end of the fight. I lost like 20k angels. That was a pretty hard loss for me, but yeah, it was a good fight. The players were organized, they reinforced. I really enjoyed that fight, even though I lost a lot of angels. Here we went for one of the stronger alliances. We've buffed up, we've used all of our strength that we could bring up that day and went for an attack. Yeah, and sadly we got completely wrecked doing this attack. The enemies reinforced, they've been a lot of players, and I can just shout out to them that they played this very well. Yeah. And I was leading this attack, so I immediately called for the retreat because I didn't want our alliance to use or to lose more and more troops, because we weren't able to win that fight. A few were able to retreat from that fight. Yeah, and as I said, they completely smoked us. So they played that very well, as you can see. Yeah, later on we were going for another speed hit. I was also leading this one. We found this one alliance, which I will come back to later, because I managed to get a very, very high kill count on one attack. And yeah, as you can see, I was just calling out that this was a speed hit with the target and the time that everybody had to speed in. And yeah, quickly waiting. A few of us joined. And we went for the attack. So the servers often get pretty laggy, so I recommend to then always shake your phone. And yeah, we were just hitting the castle. And yeah, we managed to get that one down too. Pretty funny army formation and how it still runs, but yeah, we were fine. Okay, so here are a few reports that I had, and yeah, there was this one attack that really gave me a very high kill count. Don't be too excited, it's really nothing special because the castle that I was hitting was actually just tier 8 troops and lower. I think a lot of the troops were tier 5 or tier 6. So it's actually not that impressive, but it's always funny to see how high your kill count can be. Here you can see the troops that it was using. Yeah, a lot of tier 5 troops, tier 4, so really nothing special, tier 2 also. But it was very funny, so we will check the replay, and there you can see again how angels perform and why they are so important if you're a solo player. Always look on the angels. You can see the sacred flame just flying into the backline and killing around about 140k, I think it was, of troops there again, going for 162k and a critical hit. That was also very nice to see. Then they are going there. And remember, the angel's sacred flame always goes for the highest battle power backline unit. That's, in my opinion, always interesting to know. And yeah, as you can see all the time, angels were just melting their backline even before I was able to start attacking the backline. So yeah, you can really see where all those kills come from. As you might remember from the beginning of the video, the enemy always ported in to 0 castles and plundered the resources that were left in the castle that got zeroed. So I was just looking around. I sadly lost the footage because my game crashed. So I was looking around the kingdom and saw those castles just plundering. And this castle, I just ported next to it and attacked it because it was plundering with several marches. And I thought, yeah, okay, the alliance isn't that big, so I just poured next there and hit it. You can see on the lower right that an army of that castle was coming back from plundering resources. And yeah, so it joined, but I was still able to win this fight. Yeah, but overall, we sadly lost this World War. I personally had a very good World War. I made great experiences there. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would say see you in the next one. Bye.